Hello students, welcome back to Anthropology for All. So today I am going to teach you one of the most important and basic topics in this subject, the introduction to anthropology. If you are new to anthropology, don't worry. By the end of this class, you will clearly understand what the subject is, what it studies and why it is such an existing field. In this class, we will learn what is anthropology, the meaning of this subject, the four major branches and emerging areas, and why anthropology is important today. So, let's begin our journey into the science of humanity. First of all, we should to know that what is anthropology. Anthropology is basically the comparative study of mankind. The terms come from two Greek words that anthropos means man and logos means study. But the literal meaning is actually too small for such a big subject because anthropology does not study humans in just one way. It studies human from every angle. For example, if you want to understand a tree, you can't study its leaf. You need to study its root, trunk, soil, water, sunlight, everything. Similarly, to understand humans, anthropology studies us like physically, culturally, socially, linguistically, and historically. So that is why anthropology is called a holistic science because it's look at the complete picture of human life, not only one side. Now, anthropologists do not place restriction on time, space, or aspects of humans. They study humans from the ancient past to the modern present. They study humans living in big cities and humans living in remote tribal areas. They study our body, our culture, our language, our behavior, everything that makes us humans. As a famous anthropologist, Eric Wolf said, anthropology is actually a bridge between different subjects. It contains parts of natural science, social science, history, literature, and therefore it becomes the most scientific of the humanities and the most humanistic of the sciences. Now let's understand the four major branches of anthropology. First is biological anthropology, second is socio-cultural anthropology, third, archaeological anthropology, and fourth, linguistic anthropology. I will discuss these topics in detail in the next slides. Now, the first one is biological or physical anthropology. This branch studies human evolution, human genetics, and physical differences among human population. It tries to answer questions like how did humans evolve from earlier species? Why do people look different around the world? How do we adapt biologically to different environments? For example, people live in high altitudes like the Himalayas have larger lungs capacity because they need more oxygen. People live in very hot region often have darker skin, right? Because which protect them from strong sunlight. So these are biological adaptation. But over time, as technology has grown up and science has expanded, many new and existing subfields have evolved. These new areas help us understand humans in deeper, more scientific, more modern ways. So today I will discuss each emerging field or branch one by one in very simple language with example that will help you understand and remember easily. Biological anthropology includes the study of primates, that is the study of our closest primate relatives like chimpanzees, orangutan and various apes and monkeys. Second is paleontology, that analysis of human fossils and evolution, and human genetics, which is third one, understanding like genetic variation and inheritance. There is also some emerging branches of biological anthropology. So the first one is evolutionary medicine. This field studies human health and disease from an evolutionary perspective. Our bodies evolved thousands of years ago for a very active lifestyle. But today we sit more, eat processed foods, and high stress lives. Because of this mismatch, we see disease like diabetes and obesity. Another example is sickle cell anemia, a harmful gene today, but it originally evolved as protection against malaria. So evolutionary medicine help us understand these patterns. Next is biocultural anthropology, which studies how biology and culture influence each other. Humans are shaped both by their biology and their cultural practices. For example, in cultures where dairy was historically consumed, people evolved lactose tolerance. In cultures where dairy wasn't common, most adults are lactose intolerant. Another example is turmeric consumption in India, a cultural habit that has biologically benefit such as boosting immunity. Another important emerging area is human behavioral ecology, which explains human behavior from an evolutionary and environmental point of view. For instance, in places with scarce resources, people tend to have fewer children. In environments with more resources, family sizes tend to be larger. Even mate choices like preferring partner who appear healthy are linked to evolutionary survival advantage. Now let's talk about digital anthropology, which uses modern tools like 3D scan, CT scan, and virtual reconstruction to study human bones and fossils. Earlier, fossils could easily break with handle. Today, scientists create digital models and study them safely. We can even reconstruct the faces of ancient humans using digital skull modeling. The next field is microbiome studies, which examine the microorganism living in our bodies, especially the guts. These tiny organisms affect digestion, immunity, and even mood. For example, people who eat fermented foods often have a healthier gut microbiome, while diets high in sugar can harm good bacteria. Another fascinating area is epigenetics, which studies how environment can turn genes on or off without changing the DNA. For example, identical twins have the same DNA, but their lifestyle differences, such as stress or diet, can lead to different health outcomes. Even experiences during pregnancy, like malnutrition, can affect a child's health later in life. We also have molecular anthropology, which uses DNA studies to understand human evolution and migration. Example, genetic evidence shows that all modern humans originally migrated from Africa. DNA analysis also help us trace ancestry and understand how population mixed over time. Last is forensic anthropology, where anthropologists help police and legal terms to identify unknown human remains. From a skeleton, experts can determine age, sex, height, injuries, and even cause of death. Now, the second major branch is social cultural anthropology. This branch studies human cultures, customs, beliefs, social institutions, and everyday behavior. It tries to understand how people live, how families are organized, how marriages happen, and what festival they celebrate, how religion shapes their lives, how political and economic system function, and many more aspects of society. For example, why do some cultures prefer arranged marriage while others choose love marriage? Why do some societies eat certain foods while others consider them taboo? Why do people in different cultures have different greeting styles? So these are social cultural questions. Now the second part of this slide is cultural diversity studies. This simply meaning comparing different culture around the world to understand how human beings develop different customs, beliefs, food habits, clothes, and traditions. Example, the lifestyle of people in Rajasthan is very different from people in Kerala because of climate and environment. Yet both groups share values like family bonding and respect for elders. Anthropologists study both these differences and similarities to understand how culture shapes human life. The second part is social structure analysis. This focuses on how societies are organized, like how families work, how people maintain relationship, how power and leadership are distributed. For example, some societies follow joint families, some follow nuclear families, some have caste-based hierarchy, while others follow class-based systems. Anthropologists study these structures, that why these structures exist and how they change over time. In this part of the lesson, we will quickly understand the important emerging branches of socio-cultural anthropology with easy examples. The first one is medical anthropology. This branch studies how culture shapes people's idea about health and illness. Example, in many Indian families, people first try home remedies like turmeric milk or tulsi tea before going to the doctor. In some cultures, people prefer spiritual healing. Medical anthropology try to understand these cultural differences in healing practice. Next is urban anthropology, which focuses on the social and cultural life of cities. Cities have fast lifestyle, migration, slums, apartments, traffic, and mixed cultures. Like live in Kolkata or Mumbai is completely different from a tribal village. Urban anthropology studies these changes in behavior, occupation, and relationships. The third one is feminist anthropology, which studies gender roles and inequalities. For example, why women in some societies earn less than men, or why certain jobs are considered men's work. Feminist anthropology highlights gender based differences and promote equal participation and representation. Next is ecological anthropology. This branch look at how humans depend on and interact with their environment. Like people in coastal areas depending on fishing, and people in desert store water carefully, and tribal groups use forest resources. Environment shape culture, and ecological anthropology studies these relationships. The fifth branch is visual anthropology. Here, anthropologists use films, photographs, and videos to study culture. Like documentaries on tribal dances, rituals, or village life, actually a part of visual anthropology. It helps capture expression, gestures, and cultural practices that cannot be fully described with words. Next is queer anthropology, which explores gender and sexuality beyond traditional categories. It studies the experiences of LGBTQ communities and how different cultures understand identity, acceptance, or discrimination. It helps us see gender and sexuality as more diverse than just male and female. And finally, we have the anthropology of food. Firstly, food is not just something we eat, it reflects culture. Example, rice is common in Bengal, but roti is common in Punjab. Some communities avoid beef or pork, right? Some fast on religious days, and some offer food in rituals. Anthropology of food studies these food habits, meaning, and cultural values.